Hi. This morning, I'm going back to an episode which I call the Chrysoberyl controversy. The mid-60s, when I was in my final year MSc class, the language media in Thrivikramji used to publish once a while a piece of news about the illegal mining of Chrysoberyl from the river channels in the Midlands of Nayyar, Karamanayar and Vamanavaram are. Well, most of the time, the write-ups kind of accused the Directorate of Mining and Geology for not regulating the mining, illegal mining of Chrysoberyl and making some money or revenue out of it. Well, when I was in the university college, I used to know a peon, Mr. Kuttan. Kuttan used to come to the university college Palayam from somewhere around Thrivikramji, where the headworks of Trivandrum water supply is located. Those days, it was only a weir with shutters added to it. And this location, rather upstream of this location, was a hot spot in the Karamana River, as a lot of people during the summertime, when the stream flow was low, used to try their luck in stealing gravel from the sandbars exposed in the channel, river floor, and sifting through it for this green mineral called Chrysoberyl. You know, when you say Chrysoberyl, Chrysoberyl is, by mineralogically, a beryllium aluminate. A variety of Chrysoberyl is called alexandrite, and this alexandrite variety has the very interesting property of being green or greenish in the daylight and sort of reddish when you are in the night light, for example, yellow light, incandescent light, or even candlelight. If you hold a piece of Chrysoberyl against candlelight, green Chrysoberyl, that will appear red. Well, that is what is called alexandrite. The name alexandrite is attributed to Tsar Alexander in Russia, who used to sport a green stone, a large one, of course, in the crown. That is the, the decorative crown of the emperor. And whenever this gentleman goes out, he sports that, it will be green. When he is indoors, when there is no sunlight and only artificial light, and most of the artificial light, even our Edison's lamp, that also was yellowish mostly, And then candles and fires, whatever you call, or torches, decorative torches. So this is one of the most expensive stones outside of diamond. And of course, those people who ran across this Alexandrite variety immediately rushed through some broker and then went to Mumbai or even Surat to get it cut or faceted and then sold. Well, you can sell a raw stone or cut or faceted and polished stone. Well, that much for Alexandrite. And probably Kerala, in Thrivikramji also, in the Karamana River basin also, in the streams, people had won or successfully gotten, or with luck, this Alexandrite variety. That is what attracted many people during the summertime when subsistence was very tough, especially for day workers. They joined together, form co-ops, and then do what is called, gravel sifting. Why the gravel? Because the larger stones will be associated with gravel. When I say gravel, it is not in the scientific sense, instead it is in the common man's term. In other words, anything that is between a centimeter or two in diameter or size is called a gravel. Well, this activity was going on, and of course it was actually a real pain for the Directorate of Geology to say, yes, there is Chrysoberyl, or no, there is no Chrysoberyl, because people won't believe when they said that no Chrysoberyl is there. So most of the time, whenever such a news appeared, in the news media, the Directorate of Geology used to keep mum. Well, so much. Then, when I completed my MSc, I was attached to the Department of Geology, and then I started off as what is called instructor in geology on a provisional basis in the geology department. One morning, Mr. Kuttan, our the peon in the geology department of the University College, he came over to me with a small paper packet. I unfolded it and saw 3 pieces of greenish colored stones, but actually very rough in shape. In other words, because of the water transport or what is water transport? It is not just water transport. The particles move down the stream, hit each other, and then get abraded. So those abrasion marks were too many on these stones. And Kuttan wanted me to know whether they are real stones, which is, everybody knows green is colored Chrysoberyl only, green colored stones. Those days it was a rule of thumb. But he wanted to know whether it could be a piece of glass, green glass. So the pieces were only, very close to, 7 millimeter or 8 millimeters across, and hardly more than a centimeter. Well, I said, Kuttan, I will give you, Kuttan himself told me that, sir, you give me the reply. Maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, I will come and see you. So my task was to go to the, what is called our binocular microscope, because I cannot cut the stone, I cannot grind the stone or break the stone in order to do the optical investigation. But the name Chrysoberyl or Vidurium, as it is called, is very popular those days among the people, stone hunters and peddlers and brokers, and probably Kuttan is probably one of these 3, because it gives you a fortune. Those days 10,000 rupees overnight in your lab means is a huge amount of money. That is a very important thing. Time is like 1968, or like I said, the latter half of 1960s. So I checked it under the microscope, and what do I check? Only advantage is it gives a enlarged view of this particle and these grains. I would say these gravel-like grains. And one of the things I could do was I could take it to an optical microscope and view it under the lowest magnification. There was no medium in which it was mounted. and then look for extinction, etc., etc. Because chrysoberyl is a orthorhombic mineral. So one thing I made sure that it is only a mineral because it is showing interference colors. Well, very faint, of course. Otherwise, if it were a glass, it will be isotropic. In other words, it will become dark under the cross Nichols, what you call it. Then I took this, invited KVK sir to have a look at it. Sir looked at it and said, I said, sir, these are the things I discovered or I gathered by my inspection. And Krishna said, sir said, yeah, you are right, it is not a glass piece. It definitely is naturally a green stone. Those days it is, geologists knew what chrysoberyl was. Geologists with some kind of a curiosity, of course. I did not talk to Menon sir about it, but finally I decided I will talk to Menon sir. Sir, this is what is called a chrysoberyl, and it was given to me for inspection and verification by Kuttan of the University College, because Professor Menon also knew Kuttan very well. So then I returned the stone and I told Kuttan I would want to go back to what is called the place where these such stones were gotten from. Well, in a weekend, Saturdays and Sundays in education institutions were holidays. And I went to Thrivikramji in a bus, and Kuttan was waiting for me in the bus stop, Thrivikramji bus stop, which is on the, I would say, on the right bank of those days, right bank of the river. And Kuttan was waiting for plenty of time. He was waiting for example, he said, sir, I was here right from 7:30 waiting for you on the first bus. I said, it is first bus, is it difficult? I missed it. So I reached there about 9 o'clock. And then we had some, the welcome tea as it is everywhere. There was a small tea shop. And then we had Kuttan had a bicycle. I said, Kuttan, I need another bicycle. Both of us cannot go in this bicycle. So Kuttan by that time had arranged for a bicycle also. Both of you pedaled to across the, what is called some kind of a bridge across the river, which is built on the top of the weir, connecting the other shore of the river. Then we went off the road through footpaths and side roads, and finally Kuttan said, "Sir, we will take a look at this place." And then we securely placed the side bicycles in some, as per suggestion of Kuttan, walked down and waded through knee-deep water to reach what is called the sandbar in the river channel. And of course, the surprising thing about that sandbar was there were so many small pits, and the excavated material was heaped alongside the pits. And I asked, Kuttan, what is this? Is it for getting drinking water? Those days it was a common practice in villages to go to, in the summertime, go to any sandbar in the river and make a small pit 1 foot or 2 feet deep, and then the sort of filtered water will pour into it, and that water, of course, you fetch in a pot and take it back home. That's what most people did, most people, in the sense those people who did not have access to own well. Okay. So Kuttan said, yes, these are not used for that purpose also. In this particular case, these pits are actually for what is called checking for the probability of occurrence of chrysoberyl. Because in the gravel layer, only in the gravel layer you will get gravel size, in other words, a centimeter or a centimeter and a half, or something between 5 to 15 millimeter size per grains. These grains will fetch definitely 2,000 to 3,000 rupees in the market those days, locally, without any kind of preparation, no faceting, nothing, uncut actually, raw stone as it is. So 2,000 to 3,000 rupees is a huge amount of money, because most people, for example, Kuttan probably would be drawing those days 150 rupees. My pay was only 350 rupees. Kuttan probably now will not be in the 150 rupees range, maybe close to 100 anyway. So I had a cloth bag, and instead of going for gravel, I collected coarse sand, because in the coarse sand there is a transfer coming across coarser particles of sand size, the Chrysoberyl. And then of course, after packing it, Kuttan said, "Sir, it is close to 12 o'clock, now you have a bus at 1. Shall we go back?" I said, "Okay, we will go back." So we bicycled back and reached our destination. Naturally, at the destination, we had to quench our thirst, and the easiest way, or safest way of quenching the thirst is by taking a cup of black tea, because milk tea will not be available after 9 o'clock in those days in any of the shops, because the milking process or cattle rearing for milk was not something very common. Okay, so we waited there. I had the bag with this sand, and of course, I had also a trowel, mason's trowel, to collect the sand. And then I had taken the pocket lens. I looked through right in the pit head itself. I looked at the sand particles, surveyed, several pinches, and occasionally saw one grain or no grain of green-colored particle. So that's why I collected almost 1 kilogram of sand for further processing in the lab, and then actually purpose or intention was to do a heavy mineral analysis, heavy mineral separation, collect the hand pick the Chrysoberyl grains, and of sand size, or coarse sand size, or 1 millimeter, or 1.5 millimeter size, or 2 millimeter size, and then get it mounted by Mr. Patnapapillai, and then I can use it for classwork, in the mineralogy classwork. So that was the intention. And then our Gopi is the technical assistant those days, and Gopi came and told me that, "Hey, Vikramji," because Gopi is only 1 year junior to me. This gentleman died 5 years ago. He actually retired as a professor and the head of the Department of Russian in the University of Kerala. He hailed from a place called Muduvilla to the east of Karet in the MC Road. In Karet, specialty is the Karet junction is on the right bank of the Vamanapuram river, and Gobi's Muduvilla is beyond Kallara in the road to Nadamangada from Karet. And Gobi said, there are plenty of Chrysoberyl in my area, in the river channel, in the gravel, in the sand probably. So why don't we go there and take a look? I said, "Gobi, thank you for the suggestion. I will join you one of those days." And that's enough for today.